This video is of a weekend backpack in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Here we are starting up the Jakes Creek Trail from the Altmont area of the park. Next is a topo map with a GPS track of our route, starting at Altmont top right, going to campsite 20 at the far left. Here we're continuing up the Jakes Creek Trail toward the Meigs Mountain Trail, where we'll turn west. But first we had a small change of plans. We did a short detour up the Jakes Creek Trail to try to see this cabin, the Advent cabin, where noted national artist Mina Advent had her summer studio, 1920s to 1940s.
Do not go down this way. It's a dead end. Go on up the trail up through there ways. Instead, here's where you go down on these wooden steps. And barely can see the cabin, but other side of the valley. There's a roof, about all you can see right there. Get everybody's opinion. Do y'all want to hike down and then back up a little higher or not?
I'll tell you what, why don't you, honey, you can go and tell us how it is.
We'll watch the video.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll watch your video. I didn't even live there as an artist.
Yeah, right. Well, nationally known artist, right? The Advent Cabin.
She died.
Yeah. And it's just a good shape, anything.
Okay, we go on back to the trail.
Okay.
And here we turn on the Meigs Mountain Trail and go right up there and over that gap to the campsite. Crossing Jakes Creek on the bridge on the Meigs Mountain Trail. And this is the really beautiful, bigger than I thought, Jakes Creek. I'm doing a short backpack, late November 2020, but an incredibly beautiful day. Lots of sun, and in Gatlinburg and Townsend it was over 60 today. I think it's a little less than that right here in the shade particularly. But we're hiking the Jakes Creek Trail up to the Meigs Mountain Trail, which we're on now, and to campsite 20 in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Only about 2.2 miles, and we've expanded that a little by doing another probably mile or more up to get a look of at the Advent cabin, which is on up the Jakes Creek Trail, that we got to see from the trail on the other side of the valley. And now on up to campsite 20. I'm this weekend with friends Barbara Allen and John Dunlap and Beverly Smith, longtime backpacking friends from in places from Alaska to the Wind Rivers, out in Wyoming, and of course all over the southeast. There's the gap we came across that I mentioned earlier. Trail comes around from my right here and continues out the side of the ridge there, and then over to that ridge, and then down to the campsite. And here comes Barbara. Not far behind me.
Pokey.
Nope, I'm pokey too. There's Beverly and John crossing over that ridge and down to the campsite. And over there is Barbara behind the trees. Well, we're finally to where we traverse, I think, down to the campsite. It's been a lot farther than I thought it was. We came from way back over there where the light area is and had to traverse over several ridges and to get back to this one. And again, somewhere down in there, because my GPS shows about a third of a mile to the campsite, is campsite 20. As Barbara and I bring up the rear of our small group, dropping down to the campsite, the sun is also dropping down behind that mountain there. Around 4:15, after we started at 1:45, we were finally at campsite 20. Barbara's crossing the creek. There's a couple of creeks, one on the other side certainly. And all that is the campsites. There's another guy camped in that tent, but Beverly and John, I think, there's John walking around, have set their camp up on beyond in a nice little valley here. Towards 6 o'clock, I've got up my tent and heading down to get water. Beverly and John are over there. And Barbara has gone over to where there's one other person here. That's him right there, and Barbara and her tent behind him, and we may join him for his fire. And there's the fifth guy that's camping at this campground. Big campsite, lots of sites, but they're not very level, like that kind of slope just about everywhere except maybe down there where Barbara is and where that other guy is.
The fifth guy turned out to be Wes Farragut from Sevier County. He turned out to be a great campsite companion. He got a good fire started, and we spent the evening sitting around the campfire cooking and just talking. And here's the rest of our group. That's Beverly Smith from Knoxville and her husband, John Dunlap. And this is myself. And finally, Barbara Allen from Knoxville, who at one time held the record for the oldest woman to thru-hike the AT.
So Barbara, how is it your first backpack since, what, April? March?
April. I think it was April. Yeah. It was April. Well, I did pretty good.
Yeah, you did very well, I thought. Kept up with me or ahead of me.
I hurt like hell, but that's not anything new.
Right, right.
I do that all the time anyway. Yeah, I gotta take my ibuprofen too.
Good stuff.
So chili mac, it's got meat in it, I assume, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Homemade black beans, pinto beans, chili beans, and kidney beans, and tomato, and ground beef.
yeah, and you just dehydrate it now. How long did you let it rehydrate or cook it then?
About 12, 15 minutes, something like that.
Okay. Very good. And Barbara, what are you having tonight?
I had a chicken sandwich.
Oh, you already eaten it.
Yeah.
You've already had dinner. Okay.
That was not what I planned to have, but
And Beverly and John are having Brunswick stew. I'm doing a movie.
Lunch, but I didn't need it.
And I'm having onion soup and mashed potatoes.
Basically, you mix the soup and potatoes together, add some vegetarian bacon bits, and it was quite good.
Well, it's around 8 o'clock. Kind of overcast, but not too cold. And getting ready to go down to breakfast. I think everyone else is down there already. Wes was going to start a fire, but I don't think he got it started. And where's the fire, Wes?
It's there, you just can't see it yet.
Oh, okay, I'll get closer.
It's a virtual fire.
Okay.
Just waiting on you to stir it up.
It's a Zoom fire.
Okay. What was the temperature last night? Anybody have an idea?
No one had a thermometer, but we think it was probably high 40s. Both days were quite good, 65 or so each day, and lots of blue sky. Here's John and Beverly heading out after a fairly leisurely morning in camp.
And here comes Barbara. Campsite's on the other side of the creek there. Heading out. Sunday morning.
I think one reason that I'm slower is that
Because we're both old.
combined with that, being retired, you got plenty of time. You don't have to hurry through things.
Right.
And I just got in the habit of taking my time.
That's true. We don't have to worry about time much.
Too, in my old age, I can't stay as organized.
Yep.
You can tell they're not as old and in better shape.
Yeah. It's Beverly and John way ahead of us there.
Took time to get me a drink some water. I ignored that yesterday. Not gonna do it today.
Okay. You're moving good. Keep going. Just keep going right on by.
Had any problem except slow on that first climb out this morning.
I have to say that big orange pad is big.
Yeah, it's bulky, but it's lightweight.
Yeah. So we're going to do the Wimp route or not?
Sure, that's where you want to go.
Yeah. There's a shortcut that cuts out going up there and down the Jakes Creek Trail. We go down this trail to an old horse facility of the Park Service, and then there's a road apparently that connects back to Jakes Creek. We are now at Jakes Creek right there.
We did, per my GPS, around 3.5 miles on Saturday and 2.4 miles on Sunday.
There's the horse facility. And we got a road going back to the Jakes Creek Trail. And Barbara, what are you taking pictures of? What?
Berries?
What kind of berry?
I don't know what they
Oh, berries. Okay, red berries. Okay.
If you do a zoom, get up close, it makes it pretty picture.
Yeah. Jakes Creek. And at this point, the trail is way up there. The old structures in the Smokies are always interesting. Here's Jakes Creek, but on the other side there, who knows what this was? A big pile of rocks there and a rock wall beyond it, and a ridge beyond that. We're back to Altmont in the old cabins, Altmont Cabins, most of which have been removed, but some like that one, which is I think was the cabin of Colonel David Chapman, who was involved in creating the park. And as I say, most are removed and just the foundations are left, like right there is the foundation of a house. And there's the chimney of an old cabin, and the road is paved up to here. There's another chimney.
The Altmont Cabins had a really checkered history. They were basically owned by a bunch of rich people, mainly from Knoxville. But thanks to the work of a lot of people over the years, the leases to those people were finally terminated. And now all the land is owned free and clear by the Park Service along the Jakes Creek, shown here, and the Little River.